Hey guys, what's up? It's Dropship Tyler here with,
Gambrell.
and we're just gonna talk a little bit about Amazon dropshipping, eBay dropshipping, kind of our journeys of how we've gotten to the point we're at. But yeah, so what kind of topics did you wanna hit on first?
As far as comparing the two, Amazon to eBay, I just wanted to talk about getting started. Like for those of you who have either done eBay or maybe just getting into Amazon, like what would the since you do both, what are the differences or more of the challenges that you feel initially when you first start that were like the biggest walls? Just trying to get things moving.
Yeah, right. So I touched on this a little bit in the last video I did. I don't know if you saw it, but it was basically talking about the capital requirements. And for me, I just never really felt comfortable with the idea of so much money being out there at any given point. Even with using payability, it's like if your account gets suspended, you still owe payability to that money if you can't get it soon enough, right? I mean, so for me, I guess the biggest thing was the risk of having so much capital out there at once. With eBay, I was never in PayPal jail, so I got the money instantly. So it was nice for me to be able to have this business model that was like pure arbitrage, where I was getting the money, buying the product for that person, and then sending it to that person. There was never any money really up front for me, cost whatever, to get started. And even in my second month, I wanted to hire a VA, and I invested my profits from the first month into that second month with hiring that VA. And even when I lost money on eBay my second month, it was with profit that I had already gotten and already had in my account. So it wasn't, I never had too much money out there at once. Like the startup cost for Amazon was definitely a big factor for me on the timing of getting in. And with you kind of also being the one who guided me through it, you knew that I needed to get comfortable drop shipping on eBay before I was to take that risk on Amazon.
Right, for sure. And for those of you that don't understand, maybe new watchers or whatever, with eBay you get paid instantly, and of course, when you're just getting started, it's so easy to rotate that capital in and of itself. And one of the biggest factors when it comes to Amazon is they pay you every 2 weeks. And so when you're doing all your revenue and all that stuff like that, it builds up after those 2 weeks. And then, of course, sometimes they hold money, sometimes they have a small reserve. There's all kinds of stuff that Amazon will throw at you just because they want to feel very comfortable. Because it's considered, of course, the big boy platform. It's not necessarily where you just, hey, this is my first time online selling, guys, and all that stuff. Now it can be depending on the course, which is that's the whole point of me doing the course, because I'm trying to go through with everything I have, all my bag of tricks, and absolutely everything. And I said this on a video with Mark, where I want to be able to give you guys everything. When it comes to taxes, when it comes to fees, when it comes to whatever software, every single little factor, I want to be able to have that, because Amazon is one of those platforms that is just, it's going to have, it is more of a professional platform, and that professional platform is going to just require more things of you than eBay. eBay is just, I feel like it's just so much more simple. You just, even when you're reselling your own stuff or if you're going to Goodwill and trying to flip stuff or whatever, flea markets, some people do that, and I used to actually do that myself. But yeah, when it comes to the Amazon side, it just doesn't. I never really felt that comfortable just having them. And when I started using payability, because of the volume, it just became like a game changer for me. Just because volume is the name of the game. At least when you're trying to kind of get to the next level. Some people want the margin, and I always say that if you're really trying to focus on the margin when it comes to drop shipping, it's more so where you want to look into the FBA side of it, or maybe the private label side. That's where you're going to see those crazy margins. But
I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, you want to say So Amazon. When did you start Amazon?
In June of 2017. So it was literally 6 months after I had started eBay, and I had just recently quit my job, or I told you I was quitting my job, and you were saying, okay, let's get you on Amazon. Because then at that point, I think you knew I was all in on drop shipping, and you were you knew I was ready to kind of take that next step.
Right. One thing I want to say, this is very important. So like Alex Becker and everybody always says this, and this is just something that I always like to reiterate. You never ever want to do this and just quit your job. Like it's just like, oh, I'm buying this course, I'm buying Tyler's course, I'm buying Matt's course, or I'm buying all these courses at once, and I'm going to quit my job. I do not suggest that. You know, because that's a huge risk, and it's just like, for me, like I was serving tables and I was able to build my credit, repair my credit a little bit at the time being, and have a little bit of cash flow, and that cash flow was able to kind of give me a little bit of a momentum. Should anything bad happen, should any money be held, or should I anything that does happen, it does give me a little bit of a security blanket where I wasn't necessarily like, okay, this is. I can't handle this, or I can't handle this. So I quit my job. Literally, it was probably a year. I'd been doing dropshipping for a year, so that's why I said to Tyler, about that time, he'd actually been doing. It was a little bit different though, because when I started, so you quit your job 6 months? Was it?
6 months after.
So it's a little bit different when he started, when I started, because now you have every resource on the planet. There's courses right and left, and there's like resources right and left. When I first started, there was like a couple courses, and there was not really like all these softwares. It was just like, this is it. This is really all you have. And initially, I thought I invented dropshipping, like in a sense, like I was trying to experiment it on eBay.
But you know what's funny though? Someone else who is in the Sale Freaks group, they thought they invented dropshipping too, but they started 4 years ago. So everyone who just started dropshipping, I think, without knowing really what they were doing,
it's weird. They just
they just were like, oh, I think I have something great figured out. But all these people were doing it simultaneously at the same time and didn't even realize it.
Right. Well, I was doing stuff on Craigslist. I was also doing stuff like on Flippa. I was trying to flip domains. I lost like a crap ton of money, but then I got it back. I had using it on credit cards, and I got it back from the merchant processor. But yes, it was close. I was close. But yeah, I was trying to flip stuff here, right and left, and whatever. The first thing I was trying to drop ship was like a camera. On eBay and stuff like that, and that didn't really. I mean, I got a lot of views and a lot of likes and stuff like that, and then finally I drop shipped. The first thing I sold was on eBay was a air humidifier or whatever.
Oh,
yeah. So that was the first thing I ever sold. I drop shipped it from Amazon, and that was like the first thing. And then
nice.
I was like, then I didn't even take a course. Like I had no course.
Wait, what year was this?
No
again?
YouTube, no YouTube or nothing. So
what year
this was 2000 and 2015. I want to say June.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So 3 years, almost exactly 3 years now is when you kind of got into dropshipping. It's changed. It's changed every single year, right? Like
every year is a different year, and every year there's always a different. And that's why I said with the course and the groups and stuff like that we're creating. It's just like it'll have all these updates, because you can't just launch a course without updates, and you can't have it because there's always a new thing that's going to happen. And unfortunately, it's just like Gary Vaynerchuk's. If you're not willing to change in business, you die. If you can't change and adapt, you die. Yep. It's over.
And that's kind of the new algorithm with eBay. Right. And everyone complaining about their drop in sales, whatever. I talked to Mark a little bit about it, and he was just like, this happens every 12 to 18 months. Like, I promise you it's happened before. And I'm new enough where I'm kind of naive still, where I don't believe that it has, but like at the same, like not this drastically. Right. But I also believe that if you keep doing the things you were doing with the new algorithm, like, product research, all that, eventually you're going to get your sales back, because the product research that you were doing was relevant to that algorithm. Now the product research you're doing is relevant to this algorithm. So say you're looking for products that have sold, in the past month. Now, those are all products that the new algorithm liked. So it's just a matter of staying with it and keep on going and keep adapting, whatever, like you just mentioned.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah, I mean, there's always a new way to make things better. I mean, even when you're doing promoted ads and stuff like that, I know a guy that actually does, like, he does the ads as well on Amazon, and it was with Amazon dropshipping. Yeah. He's doing that as well, and he's actually increased his margins, where he's like averaged it out at like 25%. So I mean, there's ways to do it in volume. The biggest thing, the only reason that like I've heard as far as like when you do PPC on Amazon and stuff like that, it is a little bit with dropshipping. It is a little bit tedious. So it's just like sometimes I always like to look at what's going to give me the most outcome with the least amount of work.
Yeah, the thing is,
that's kind of the thing that I'm always.
Well, if you're doing PPC with very few products, I feel like it's easier to manage, because when I was doing the FBA, I messed around with it a little bit. I never became like good enough at it where I was making more money using it. But when you're dealing with, and that was hard with like, 1 or 2 products in Amazon, trying to like perfect what keywords and all that. You know, I didn't use any software to do it for me. Trying to do it myself. We have thousands and thousands of products on Amazon. Can you imagine trying to do a PPC campaign for each one and then like going back and optimizing it so you're not losing a fuck ton of money? Sorry, I shouldn't cuss, but
right. Well, you would basically come in and see what the ones that are already selling the most, and then you can kind of filter them out that way. That's what like my friend does. He'll come in and he'll just find the ones that are selling already, and then he'll kind of be able to like optimize those.
Because he's doing the PPC is only effective when you're in the buy box, correct?
Yeah, so you're only paying for it once it's in the buy box, correct?
So I guess it would only be worth it to focus on the ones that you know you've already sold, and the ones that. That way you already know you're getting that buy box rotation, and in those ones, because I have products where I cleaned up like a couple months ago. I had never once, it tells you the percentage in the buy box. I didn't have any time in the buy box, so I deleted those listings obviously and didn't have any sales. So I guess in terms of PPC, you are right. It'd be easier to manage your top ones that,
Yeah, so I mean, as far as like any other like things that were like really frustrating or like I guess kind of like a something that is just a struggle for you, like kind of getting things going. After that, you know, first, because I won't want to say this. When he first started, he already had the buy box from the get go.
I did, because
so that is something I do want to like reiterate. So that's an important point.
I was able to start a lot faster than most people because I had already done that private labeling and my account was 90 days old, etc. So.
There is a misconception where it isn't necessarily 90 days. That is technically what it is, but it's actually if you, whenever your review actually happens. So like if you were to somehow have, I don't know, a way to trick the system where you do a certain amount of sales, there's no way you'd actually be able to, or you actually be able to get that, what's it called?
The buy box.
The buy box, yeah. Sorry.
No, sorry. Yeah, we had some people walk in.
But anyways, So once you get the buy box, it's pretty much game over and game on from there. And you're all ready to go and make some money. But you can still make money without the buy box. It's just going to be like literally so much harder. When you look at the differences between eBay and Amazon, as far as like, I don't know, it almost seems like in some ways when you don't have the buy box on Amazon, and kind of the way it is on eBay when you are first starting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you still have PayPal jail that you have to worry about when you first start on eBay. But other than that, I mean, that's why I said it's just like it's not smart to do business when you don't have any kind of credit or cash or income, because it just doesn't make sense. Like it's just not advantageous. And so like I've heard actually people come up to me and they're like, yeah, I'm doing what you're saying as far as like, having a job, and it was a guy that was serving. And I mean, that was a big part of like what I did, because serving was great because as I was doing more and more sales, I could take less and less shifts. Doing a 9 to 5 isn't like that, so it's in some ways kind of a little bit tough to make that huge jump, because you're either working 40 hours or you're not. It's just like it's either or. So it's like, so with this, it's like working in the service industry was kind of actually convenient. But I mean, and coming from you, that's why I said it was something that, that's a huge step, because you're cutting out like that 40, was that 40 hours you were working, like 50 or?
Probably 40 to 45. And I mean, I was making 70 a year after bonus. So it's like, I was willing to give that up and take the risk to do the eBay and Amazon business.
Right.
So that was a huge step for me.
For sure.
And obviously, it was interesting because my parents, my girlfriend, all that kind of had to be on board a little bit, and they still didn't really fully understand it. So it was
nobody really understands it. Like my parents and stuff like that, nobody really like. I guess everybody always is like. I mean, even I have people that would be like, "Are you doing drug deal or whatever?"
Yeah.
Once I do this course, I'm gonna feel so much better, because it's like everybody is literally gonna be like, "Okay, this is not illegal."
Yeah, now I understand it.
Now I get it. It's like there's nothing funny. Like it's like this is why it works. This is why it makes sense. And then it throws in all the the tax litigations, all of the resources and stuff like that, links.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said I'm really excited about the course, because it actually is going to be the all-in-one package, and it's going to show new softwares and provide new things like that are going to be really helpful for everybody trying to do stuff.
So just I want to touch on the automation aspect of these businesses too. That because that's one thing that from the very beginning that you reiterated to me constantly was. Virtual assistants, whatever. Well, they're your employees. You don't even call them virtual assistants. You call them employees because they're literally part of your company. But at what point did you feel like how long into it did you feel like your business was actually like automated?
So yeah, like when I first started Amazon, basically, so that was June 2000 and not June, July 2015. Yeah. So that was like our first time, like, you know, kind of getting into it. I had the buy box in around September-ish, and right around my birthday. And then, but I was still like working like a dog. Actually, I remember working so hard I didn't even really have a birthday. You know, it was like basically like, you know, I just went everything. The days were blaring together, and then me and, you know, my like one VA. I had one VA and her sister, and it was literally like grinding out every single time, like every day. Like she was grinding it out, I was grinding it out, and we just were just like, it was like the worst like feeling ever. Just like I can't explain.
Nonstop. I experienced that because I had the 9 to 5, and then I was also trying to build.
You did
it on a whole.
Which was
level.
really hard. Yeah, and so I was still working. Yeah, you know, there was like that. I was still working the restaurant and in school while I was doing eBay and stuff like that, and then I was still working all these. I didn't quit the serving job until like another 6 months after that. So like I was still up until like November. Then I finally was just like, okay, I think it was literally when I got the buy box and I could see the power of the buy box, where I was just, the confidence just went to an all-time high. Because that was like literally like, the difference was like, you know, when you, I'll just give you a number that way so everybody knows what I'm talking about. So it was like I felt like I could make $2,000 a month without the buy box, but with the buy box, now all of a sudden it was like times, you know, 5. Like I could make 10,000 basically. Yeah. That was the difference of what I felt, and like if you were like looking at it like a dope chart or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, and that was just like a game changer for me. And then, you know, of course, like for going back to what you were saying as far as like when I felt like it was like automation, I just felt like it was like probably like once I had the buy box, I could afford to hire more assistants.
Yeah.
Okay. And then once I did, and we had, you know, 4 or 5 VAs, I was like, okay, cool. This person's doing the customer service. This person's doing this. We're organizing everything so that I can. And then here's the software. Is this software going to be, you know, how is the software going to work in tangent with what they're doing? How well does it work? We have to test it out. And then finally, once we've finished, you know, testing everything and felt comfortable, we were like, okay, this is what you got to do. This is what you're checking. Mm-hmm. Then we're having, you know, people like list and adding that, and it's just there was all these different things, and I had to train everybody to learn how to do their job the most effective way. So,
but once you do that, it's crazy the growth rate once you take all those things off your plate that are just kind of holding you back from development, like you said.
Right. Well, here's something really important. I've heard a lot of business owners that actually say this, and they're always like, you know, I can never count on my staff to just do what, you know, to do what I do or to be me. It's just so frustrating. I was just like, well, the only thing is like, and if you're a business owner, you know, you have to take on the, and I'm going to talk about this in the course as far as being an outsourcing manager. Like you're a CEO of a company. You're not paid. You're paid to think, not to do. So it's like if you are ever going to, you know, get outside of the doing, because there's only 24 hours in a day, and if you're doing all of the work, you're just gonna, you know, burn out, and you're never gonna get out of it.
Your time is worth so much more than, you know, the $3 an hour that you're gonna pay a VA. That's how I look at it.
Right. You have to be willing to pay the staff, and you have to be willing to always train the staff. Like as things change, now we have to train the staff differently. Now we have to adapt. So like, when things change in Amazon, we have to change our the team, you know, because that changes.
They have to be able to learn quickly.
Yeah. So that's why I always say, you know, and that's why I said there's the reason why I started doing dropshipping, and I always really like to do dropshipping, is because the liquidity of it. When there's something that changes, doesn't put a liability should something change, and then all of a sudden now I have all this, you know, inventory, or now I, you know, can't, now I have this place and I can't afford it, or now I just, you're liquid, so you can always, you know, transition into different areas.
You can stop whenever you need to.
If there's a point where you need to stop or you need to reset, you know, you can always do that. And so there's never a pressure of, okay, damn, like I don't really know what to do here.
Like for me, for example, you just said reset. I actually turned my Amazon store off for a month, you know, to catch up on all my capital, like all the payments from Amazon, all that. All I had to do was pay the VAs to continue to do the customer service from the sales before. Yeah, so sure. It was like very easy for me to hit a reset button and also reduce my cost at the same time to almost nothing.
Right.
So I had that month of, you know, being able to untie some capital and whatnot. So it was
For sure, yeah. Sometimes it's needed. I mean, especially after Christmas, there's a lot of returns and stuff like that. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen. So you want to make sure that everything is you're on the right track.
Yeah.
So yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, anything else you wanted to highlight or?
No, I think just because there's people in here or whatever now, so we're gonna end this video. But yeah, thanks for watching. Again, I'm Dropship Tyler. This is Matt Gambrell. Go ahead and subscribe to our channels, and you can get more content whenever we produce it. And
yeah, for sure.
Also, look out for this guy's course, because I promise you, it's going to be life changing. I never thought I would be where I am today, especially on Amazon. So yeah, thanks guys.
Thanks.
All right, man. See you later. Just got done with my the interview with Matt. I hope you guys enjoyed it, but yeah, it was good. It was fun riding around in the Lambo afterward. If you guys have any questions, comments about anything, just go ahead and leave those in the comment section, and go ahead and click that subscribe button. Thanks, guys.